Fighting the Sex Jinx. Why are the sirens doomed for only brief reigns on the screen? By Francis Clark. Photoplay, January 1927. Yes, Mrs. Glynn, it is a vexatious problem. If you have too much it, you are promptly put in your place as a brazen and obvious hussy, with no ability and nothing but a lot of sex appeal. Hence Leah de Putty and Greta Garbo are sending up assorted prayers in German and the Scandinavian for the producers to make them good little girls. If you have too little it, you are labeled a colorless prig, with a cold heart and no emotional appeal. Hence Alice Joyce, Mae McAvoy, and Lois Wilson are asking the managers please to throw a little temptation in their direction. There is no pleasing the public in this sex business. Once you have established yourself as a death-dealing vamp, the public will have you in no other role. Once you have established yourself as an ingenue, the public wants to keep its illusion about you, even after it is bored with seeing you on the screen. That is, of course, unless you prove that you are uncommonly clever. On the screen, the wages of sin is loud, coarse laughter, and the wages of virtue is the cold shoulder. Happy, then, is the star who is not an extreme type. Happy is the girl who can stick to comedy dramas and romantic love stories. For the extreme types fall faster and more suddenly in popularity than the girls less boldly sketched by nature. Most of the quick, sensationally sudden successes are scored by the vamps, and the vamps also get the rudest awakenings. Leah de Putty rose to instantaneous fame and variety. Her role was that of a very naughty girl. Greta Garbo established herself as a man-eater in The Torrent. But both of these imported luxuries, although they are now swimming on the crest of the wave, are beginning to look timidly into the future. Before them lies the awful warning of Theda Bara, of Valeska Surratt, of Virginia Pearson. They also figure that neither Betty Blythe nor Nina Naldi are now conspicuously prominent in the local electric lights. And they must feel that the actress who is consistently and unvaryingly represented on the screen as a surefire heartbreaker never lasts long. And there are some sound reasons back of this fickleness, some good psychological causes why too much sex stuff is a jinx for any actress, no matter how clever. Women will go see a vamp picture for any or all of three reasons. First, for vicarious experience denied them in life. Second, to get helpful hints in the art of man-stealing. Third, to enjoy a feeling of superior virtue. And so, any new exotic figure that flashes across the screen is sure to have an immediate following, attracted by curiosity. But the same reasons that draw them to the vamps also serve to repel them. In the first place, the vicarious experience thrill wears thin quickly because the wild women of the screen are invariably shown paying the price. And for the average woman who cannot take a detached view of any story, it is no fun to put yourself in place of a woman who is constantly spurned by the hero. In the second place, the helpful hints on man-stealing are soon found to be impractical and far-fetched. Any woman who has ever tried out an exotic makeup on husband, brother, or boyfriend knows that she is usually merely told to go and wash that stuff off her face. And in the third place, the superior feeling seldom gets a strong hold, because screen vamps are seldom sympathetic enough or human enough to be credible. The men who are attracted by vamp pictures are seldom faithful followers. Men go to see them because, to their credit, they would rather see a pretty woman than a homely one. But mere beauty grows tiresome, and beyond a momentary and fleeting appeal, the vamps lose out because most of them possess neither sentiment nor a sense of humor, nor have they amiability. And, on the screen or off, these are the three feminine virtues most prized by men. Faced by these audience reactions, the high priestesses of sex are jinxed from the start. After they get over being a 9 days wonder, they are as passé as their counterparts in real life. Audience gasp at first glimpse. On second thought, the public decides that there ain't no such animal. And so the Mrs. de Putty and Garbo would hit the sawdust trail before reformation is too late. In their eagerness, they would go to extremes and play guiltless lilies. But there is dissatisfaction in the other camp. Too much virtue is also a curse. Like extreme wickedness, perfect virtue passes the border of credibility. If the public can no longer believe in the sinfulness of Theda Bara, neither can it swallow the innocence of Mary Miles Minter. The early type of ingenue is as out of date as the hobble skirt. Ladies who have achieved a reputation that is a little too spotless are stamping their feet at managers who would make them too good. Alice Joyce has flatly declared that she will no longer be the respectable mother on the screen. It is great to be a respectable mother off the screen, But it is a tiresome professional job. Women go to see Alice's gowns because they are always in perfect taste, and they go to watch her charming manners, but they seldom have any real and vital interest in the parts she plays. Miss Joyce, remembering Blanche Sweet's performance of Anna Christie, hopes for shabby clothes and strong meat. Figuratively speaking, she is willing to wear the green hat, the scarlet letter, or Salome's dancing shoes. She is willing to be anything but the impeccable society matron with the wayward adolescent daughter. May McAvoy is tired of being the little pal of the hero who stands by while the hero sows his wild oats. May longs for a few mouthfuls of wild oats for herself. May has been cursed by being blue-eyed and tiny. Lois Wilson wants to play Carmen. In her revolt against too much virtue on the screen, Lois has taken to snappy dressing, snappy conversation, and snappy friends. If she has to visit every nightclub in New York, Lois is going to prove to the producers that she is not as white as she has been painted. The vogue of the superlatively good girl may last longer than the vogue of the vamp, but the ending is just as ignominious. The reputation of an ingenue is a sensitive plant. It cannot stand too much heat. Mary Miles Minter became involved in a murder mystery and an implied love affair, and the public would have no more of her. Wanda Hawley was smothered by sugar, and the public decided that too much sugar is bad for the system. The appeal of the good girl on the screen is the appeal of the ideal. The girl who plays such roles lasts in favor just as long as she can convince audiences of her sincerity, just as long as she can persuade the audience that the ideal which she represents is not grotesquely impossible. For some strange human reason, great virtue is more plausible than extreme wickedness. Therefore, the good girl keeps her vogue longer than the vamp, provided, of course, that the temptations that assail her are picturesque and not tiresome. When May Allison felt that her heroines were beset by too many routine situations, she changed neatly to more sophisticated parts, and convinced directors that she was cleverer than the role she had played. Like Miss Joyce, Miss McAvoy, and Miss Wilson, hers was not so much a revolt against the ideal itself as against the unimaginative treatment of the ideal. Woe to the ingenue whose sincerity is challenged! When the public begins to doubt her, she can never again look a kitten in the face before the camera. When an ingenue acquires 10 pounds and 3 husbands, she is lost to the world of Little Nell. And woe, too, to the vampires who acquire reputations for being happily married and good to the folks. Screen audiences are intolerant of the sex abstainers, and they are just as intolerant of the sex bacchants. Enduring popularity only comes to those actresses who can take sex or leave it alone.